Hello, everybody. Ella J here on behalf of WrestleZone, and today I am joined by your UPW Women's Champion and your resident mullet queen, Axe Massacre. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
I am so excited to be talking with you because I've had my eye on you for a hot minute. Obviously, there's a lot of blooming Australians across the pond or across the Pacific, but you, my friend, have a very interesting look and name in and of itself. I say it's the coolest name besides Masha Slamovich in professional wrestling. So I am obsessed with your name. So we'll kind of start there. Obviously, it leans into your punk and rebellious vibes, but what is the origin story or story behind the Axe Massacre name?
Oh, it goes back a while ago. So
Okay.
it was originally my cosplay name because I used to be a very big cosplayer,
Yeah.
and I got it from one of my old friends. She wrote a song about me, basically about how I break boys' hearts, and saying that I take an axe and massacre their hearts, and that's where it came from.
I love that. I was going deep into your Instagram and there is a lot of old throwbacks. So I'm very excited. Tell us about some of the interesting cosplay looks that you've had from back in the day.
Oh my Lord. Well, my favorite was always Cruella de Vil, specifically Glenn Close. She was like my idol as a child. I always
Yeah.
wanted to be her. So making some of those costumes from the movies was like a dream of mine. They were incredibly difficult to make, and I had no idea what I was doing at the time, but they were my favorites. I tried to dabble in kind of like the armored side of cosplay, like doing like World of Warcraft stuff,
Yeah.
but as easy as I thought it was going to be, it was not. It was not for me.
Like the heaviness of the gear or like putting it together and everything.
Just like trying to make armor and basically, like bits to cover your bits
Yeah,
that
that's
sit, and
fair.
they're made out of like foam and cardboard and paper
Hmm.
mache and stuff, and sometimes warbler, and it's really uncomfortable, and it's really hard to get these very rigid things form fitting and sitting nicely on you all day. Like it's really hard.
You know what? That's valid too. And like I imagine it like depending the material probably makes some noise and like can be really stiff. I can imagine you're like trying to walk and everything.
Yeah. And, sometimes because you'd be in it all day and you'd be trying
Yeah.
to, be a human, and sometimes things would break and it would be a disaster and it'd be very, very scary.
I'm so curious. You seem to have a creative bone in your body because you've obviously designed your t-shirts as well. Have you like always been you said that you were designing your cosplay stuff. Have you always been a creative person?
Yeah, always. I grew up in a creative family. My mom was a seamstress, and I did a lot of dancing and stuff. So
Yeah.
I've always grown up around costumes and kind of the flamboyantry that's out there. Yeah, it's just I always, it's a very like kind of punk moral of mine as well. Like it's DIY or die. Like
It's a good saying. It goes with you too. I'm curious too. You mentioned dance, you've done cosplay. Obviously, you've been a wrestling fan for a while. But if you think back to, I guess we'll call them little acts, what did little acts envision your adult version of yourself doing for a living? Was it dance? Was it cosplay? Or what were you dreaming of as a kid?
as a kid, I wanted to be a dragonologist, a wizard, and a fashion designer.
For those who don't know, can you explain the first one?
So Dragonology was a very, very popular book when we were younger.
Hmm.
Basically just about dragons and how to find them and capture them and identify them and stuff. I was
Honestly, though,
obsessed.
if you're a kid, that's something dream big, they tell you. Were
Mm.
you, I mean, I personally, admittedly, haven't seen much of the Harry Potter series, but was that where you maybe found your love for wizardry or what kind of clung you to that?
No, so I was so obsessed with the ology books. So then
Oh,
after
okay.
Dragonology came Wizardology, I was obsessed.
Got it.
Then Egyptology, I was also obsessed, like obsessed with Egypt. Is never ending.
It sounds so cool though, especially when you're a kid, you want to be adventurous in the sci-fi realm. Um, if you could have, I guess, one wizard power, what would it be? I'm sure you've thought about this.
Um, it's always been a tough call between like teleportation and
Yeah.
just being able to fly.
I mean, teleportation would be a lot quicker.
Yeah, but if I could fly myself,
That's
it kind
true.
of,
You could
you
see
know,
you could see everything, the scenes. It's basically just do you want to get there faster or do you want to be able to see the scenes without really being bothered by other people? So that's fair.
pretty much.
Obviously character and look wise, I know you take a lot of inspo from film and television, including comedy, horror, and slasher films. So, what is the latest film or show that you've taken inspo from, and how have you incorporated it into your work?
Ooh, that's a good question. I haven't been doing too much kind of character research lately from films. I think
Okay.
kind of the last things I was looking at was I think it was still Kath and Kim, to be honest. um yeah, just I don't know. I've just been really stuck into watching wrestling at the moment. I'm just doing a lot of tape study.
That's fair. Then who have you been watching then, particularly?
Well, my husband has been watching a lot of old CM Punk because that's his favorite wrestler. So we've
Yeah.
been watching a lot of old like Ring of Honor stuff like that. But I've been trying to get more into watching like the 80s Joshi wrestling because that's what I really, really love. Like Bull Nakano, Manami Toyota, all of that.
Yeah.
Like I really, really love watching them. Like their matches are so inspiring to me.
So ahead of their time too as well, like true legends.
Yeah.
Manami Toyota only retired a couple years ago. There's been talks. Bull has said that she wants to wrestle one more match, so it like could happen this year, next year. We don't really know. But definitely two legends in the game. And you mentioned that you haven't been particularly watching a lot of film and stuff for inspo, but I have to guess that you're still watching it for fun.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
what would you say are your top 3 to 5 horror slash slasher films?
Okay, well, it might be a little generic, but I think my favorite horror film is The Exorcist,
Yeah,
just because for what it was at the time, it was so revolutionary and it was so amazing, the effects and everything. I still watch it to this day, and I still think like this holds up for me. This holds up to stuff that's being made now and is still way better. And I think that has a lot to do with practical effects. Like
yeah.
practical effects will always outweigh like CGI and stuff to me. Um, Slasher films, obviously Friday the 13th, pretty much any of them except for Jason Goes to Hell or Jason Takes Manhattan because he
Fair.
does not. Um, and what else? I really like a lot of like Z grade kind of trashy films. I think, we were watching like The Blob and what else? The Stuff. Just, these really silly kind of 80s horror films where it's
Mhm.
just terrible acting and rip-off actors, and but they're great. Like they're so fun and so silly, and they just have some of these amazing practical effects or just ridiculously gory practical effects that just I froth.
It's fun too. I love the ones where, they're like labeled horror movies, but I feel like they're more comedies. And sometimes they don't mean to be, like you mentioned, sometimes it's just the bad acting that makes them hilarious. But I feel
Yeah.
like you gotta find the humor sometimes in I mean, to be fair, a lot of the slasher films are a bit much where it is comedic.
Mm.
But it's good to find the comedy, in darker places. And I feel like that's kind of wraps around your character, which I know you've said is kind of you just cranked up. So I feel like that kind of just embodies you, would you say?
Yeah, 100%. You're right as well. Like with some of the like the bigger slasher movies, in their earlier days where they took themselves seriously, and that
Yeah.
kind of natural comedy, especially now with how some of them get a bit dated, like that is that is good. But then when they started becoming like self-aware,
Yeah.
then it became a bit icky. Like anything that was like Freddy Krueger started to kind of toe the line on like, okay, this, all right, like it's a bit much.
What shows are you currently watching TV wise?
I am I'm just finishing the fourth season of The Sopranos.
Okay.
I have never watched it before. My husband got me onto it. So we're watching that together. He's seen it before and he keeps asking me every time we finish an episode, he's like, what do you think's gonna happen next? And I'm like, I don't know. Every episode, it's just
Mhm.
it's completely all over the place, like in a good way, but just
Yeah.
they completely they purposely throw you off course with every episode. You never know what's going to happen. You're hoping someone's going to die, and then they
And they
don't. And
don't. Yeah.
so I'm enjoying it though. Like I really like it. Like it's and again, it just has those moments where it's super super serious, and then they just cut to like this one really stupid comedic line just catches you off guard, and you're like, how can I be serious when you like I love it. I think it's great.
They'll keep you on your toes, you know?
Yeah,
There's
it's
never a dull
great.
moment. I honestly haven't. I obviously like know what it is. I haven't watched it either, but I know it was really, really popular. So it sounds fun though. So maybe I should get on that bandwagon too. I know I'm a little late as well. Um,
Doesn't matter.
Now, obviously, part of your look and character as well is your fabulous mullet. Maybe, dare I say, the best mullet in pro wrestling.
Thank
Um,
you.
what would you say is your Mount Rushmore of mullets in wrestling?
In wrestling? Oh, I think we'd probably have to go back in times. I know there's a few people today
Yeah,
who have mullets, but I don't really rate them.
that's fair.
Um, Back in time. Oh Lord. It's gonna be pretty much the I think it's like all blonde mullets. So I think it was Ultimate Warrior. He had a good one. Um, I'm not sure if I'm remembering this correctly, but I'm pretty sure Kevin Nash had a mullet, but I
Yes.
could be wrong. Um, who else? I don't know if they're classified as mullets because it was just kind of the hair at the time.
Well, Sherry, I think you're thinking of
Yes,
Sherry Martel.
yes,
Yeah,
yes, that's who. Thank you.
yeah,
Yes. Sherry, she had great hair.
yeah. Curly,
Um,
yeah,
Again, I don't know if it classifies as a mullet. I think my most favorite hair is Luna Vachon because she's my favorite wrestler of all time, and she's kind of where I get the baseline for my character and
yeah.
my look from. So Luna Vachon, Sherry, Kevin Nash, Ultimate Warrior.
Eddie Guerrero is always a classic too, as
Oh
well.
yeah, no,
Um,
okay. I'll replace Kevin Nash with Eddie Guerrero.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm curious. Obviously, we've seen you with pink hair, with red hair. If you scroll back, you used to have green. Obviously, now you have this blonde and kind of dark and light going on. What prompted you to change to your current look right now?
I was inspired by Christina Aguilera in her dirty era.
Yeah.
Originally, I wanted to have kind of like the black chunky highlights, but
Hmm.
with a mullet, it doesn't really work as well because I've obviously got like only half a head of hair.
Yeah.
So I just did the under because I've had the black under my hair before and I really liked that, but I never had it this length.
Hmm.
So I just did that. I had red streaks in there for a while too, but they kind of faded out and I got it changed over. But yeah, it was mostly inspired by her.
How long did it take you to grow out your mullet completely?
Um, about 3 hours because I have extensions.
Fair. You know what? I appreciate the honesty. That's fair.
it was taking so long for my hair to grow. My hair is just it grows slower than a wet week. So I
Hmm.
was like, I just wanted to have long hair. I
Yeah.
just wanted something to kind of,
Mhm.
like you say, elevate my look. And I think it really did.
I have to agree with that too as well. There's nobody I don't think that I can think of, at least off the top of my head, that has your look right now. So you are one of one. Obviously, another big part of you is the punk inspired era. I'm curious, it probably does, but does that punk vibe translate to your music taste as well? Or what is your general music taste like? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Punk music, yes. Metal, all kinds of metal. I mean, I've always been kind of a, one of those people who's like, I like all genres because I do like I enjoy country music. I really like pop music. Like, but yeah, I'm very big into the punk and metal and alternative music.
What are some of your favorite bands or artists from that realm?
Well, my absolute favorite punk artist is Amyl and the Sniffers. They were a huge inspiration, especially like Amy Taylor. She's a huge inspiration for my wrestling character.
Hmm.
Um, as well as I kind of it's a bit all over the place because I like some older stuff, like I like Cro-Mags, I like
Yeah.
Rancid. Um, and then I always try to kind of just develop because there's so many bands out there. I try to get into a lot of the newer, more unknown stuff.
Hmm.
I think there's a band called Numb, who's Australian, I'm pretty sure. That's a like I really love female fronted punk, especially because I do get a lot of my taste, like my music taste from my husband, because he's very, very, very much into
Hmm.
punk and metal and stuff. And like I learn a lot of bands I've never heard of from him. I think he's really into the Bouncing Souls at the moment. He's gone very much back into listening to AFI, which is no, I know it's not punk, but
Yeah.
they're great.
Well rounded.
I think yeah, I think I also I used to be a massive emo, so I've got a very extensive kind of emo music taste. Like I will always love the Used.
Yeah.
Um, and my Chem's all right. They were never my big favorite band, but um, I guess that's maybe more pop punk. I don't know.
Well, it kind of goes with everything
I'm
because like you
doing
said, you're kind of into like everything. I'm kind of the same way except for I'm not really into screamo. That's really the only one where I'm like
yeah,
it's like a sensory thing. But other than that, like I'm pretty much the same way as you. Can really get into anything. Um,
yeah,
I'm so curious too. Talking about you have your tattoos. Obviously, I am obsessed with a lot of them, but I'm really curious about your Born to Raise Hell devil tattoo. I think it's on one of your arms. Tell us the story behind that one.
There's not much of a story. I went with my husband to get
Hmm.
his elbow tattooed, and I was sitting there, and then the tattoo artist had posted on his story. He's like, "I have time today to tattoo one of these two tattoos," and it was two of these little devil babies.
Hmm.
And one of them said "Born to Love," one of them said "Born to Raise Hell," and I saw it, and I was like, "Well, I'm already here,
Yeah,
and I really
might as
want
well.
that." So I just asked him and popped me in after he'd finished my husband and we just smashed it out. Um, but it's one of my, I always forget it's there because I can't see it, but
Yeah.
I do love it. This originally was actually the one that said Born to Love, but I preferred how he looked. So I
Hmm.
had him change the words
Hmm.
around. But yeah, it's just kind of, I think it's just kind of like a motto for me, really. Like I've always just been a hellraiser
Yeah.
to I guess to put it one way. My dad would probably say that. So
What would you say is your favorite or I guess most cherished tattoo?
um it's probably I have a tattoo on my rib for my mum. She passed away when I was 15 from
Mhm.
cancer. So I got a rib tattoo for her that's in French because she loved French, loved everything to do with France and Paris and stuff. So that's probably my most, yeah, probably my most cherished one.
Yeah, I feel like it goes very well with your it's just turned up to 1,000. Um, I want to shift gears a little bit because I
Mhm.
saw you and a few of the Aussies took a little trip to a little city called Las Vegas recently for WrestleMania 41 weekend. It was your international debut. You wrestled at Melina's Divas and Drag show against Maserati. Great
Mm.
match, great pet matchup and pairing. Tell us about your experience at the show and WrestleMania 41 weekend in general.
Oh my God, it was wild.
I
Like
believe it.
it's such a monumental moment for me. Like to that was the first time I'd ever been to the States, the first time I'd ever been to
Ah,
Vegas, first time I'd ever been to WrestleMania. So that was a lot of firsts for me. But then making my international debut in Vegas for Melina on WrestleMania week was like, this is crazy. Like how is this happening? Like I felt incredibly honored and I had a little bit of imposter syndrome, I can't lie, because I was like, this is bananas. But it was amazing. I know that in Melina's mind, she was hoping for a bigger turnout. But I think, for all of us, we just agreed. We were like, we honestly, we're here for you.
yeah.
We're here for you, and we are just so happy to be here. And it doesn't matter how many people came or whatever. Like we had a ball. We had a great time. It was a great show. It was a great locker room. It was all around like so lovely. I think as well to be on such a feminine show was really a nice change for me.
I feel like it's tough too during like WrestleMania weekend. There's like 67 shows going on too. Like
Exactly.
that's the tough part. But like you said, like the lineup for that card, like you're where else are you gonna see that? Like it's in Las Vegas. You have people coming all around from all over the world, personalities from wrestling and drag and all the cool things. Like I feel like
Mm,
there's I hope that's a yearly thing because like that seems like a lot of fun. Maybe I don't know. I know WrestleMania week is crazy. But I
yeah.
hope she pulls on another show so I can come down and see it because that seems like it was a lot of fun, like you said.
Yeah, absolutely. I would so be down to do that again. And yeah, like you said, like it's WrestleMania week, like I don't think any of us were expecting like, a freaking massive giant stadium crowd or anything like that. We would,
Mhm.
like I said, just happy to be there. And I also got to, shout out to Maserati because she was phenomenal to work with.
Yeah.
She's a little pocket rocket. Like I love her and I would so want to work with her again.
Now I'm so curious. You said it was your first time to the States. What was your favorite thing that you ate during Las Vegas weekend?
Ooh. Oh God, that's a hard question because I genuinely loved everything. In and Out was phenomenal. Um, I love the coffee from Dunkin' Donuts, which
Yeah.
people might think is, weird because it's like, oh, we're Australian, we have the best coffee. No, I genuinely, I prefer the coffee in America. I don't care. And Cinnabon was wow,
Hmm.
so good. And Popeyes, absolutely love Popeyes. So freaking good. I miss it.
They have really good stuff. I like all of them. I love Dunkin' Donuts personally. I think it's better than Starbucks. I will say it.
Yeah.
But if you go further north, like Canada or like New York, we have a thing called Tim Hortons. It's basically the same thing, but it's even better. I live in like upstate New York. Tim Hortons is beauty. So hopefully next time you're over here, sometimes you get to experience some Tim Hortons too as well.
Yes. There was a lot of things that I didn't get to, just purely because of, time and kind of where we were
Yeah.
like not because like LA and stuff. Like it's
Yeah.
massive, it's so big. So it's not just like where I am, everything's quite accessible, everything's pretty small.
Yeah.
You just, if it's in the city or anywhere around the city, you can get to it quite easily. Whether it's there, it's like, if you want to go somewhere, it's like halfway across the state.
Yeah.
Like, so
I
yeah.
I did see you had some time to explore some scenes though, like the set of Miss Congeniality 2 and Twin Peaks, The Return. What other non-wrestling activities did you enjoy that weekend? What else did you see?
Oh, we went to Outback Steakhouse. That was that was definitely a restaurant.
Fair enough.
I do rate the bloomin' onion. The bloomin' onion was good, and
Hmm.
the drinks were good. The food was, yeah.
That's fair.
Um, what else? I think we just kind of enjoyed walking up and down the strip and like going into all the casinos, having a
Hmm.
little gamble.
Did you win?
Um, Not very big. I think I won
Okay.
maybe like $80 or
Not
something.
bad.
But conversion rates, that's like
Yeah, that's fair.
it's like $150 or
Hmm.
something. Like, so uh yeah, I don't know. I honestly had just always wanted to just go there for the casinos mostly.
Hmm. I mean, it's
Um
Sin City, so yeah.
yeah, we did go to Walmart. I did, I did enjoy that. That was definitely fun. It's pretty much what I
Probably
knew it was going to
chaotic.
be.
Yeah.
It wasn't too bad because I think
Okay.
we went in like early morning in like the middle of the
Oh,
week.
okay.
So
Hmm.
it was pretty chill, but it was cool having like a store like that that's got everything, like the
Hmm.
supermarket and the department store and stuff. Like I thought it was pretty cool.
Hmm. Did you get to attend WrestleMania itself either night? Okay.
Yes, I went both nights. Yes.
So I feel like there's a couple of answers, but what match did you enjoy seeing the most from WrestleMania 41?
Uh I genuinely think it would be the women's triple threat. Like that was so incredible, and like being in the crowd watching that, like
Hmm.
the vibe in the crowd
I
was
know.
so electric. Like, everyone was like, holy shit, this is incredible. Like, so yeah, that all around was so good. Like that was definitely, I think, for me, the best match of the weekend.
Great way to kick off night two as well. I have to agree. The triple threat I think was the best one, and then man, the main event of night one though was really good too.
Oh
Especially the
yeah.
twist ending.
Yeah, that was again, that was my husband's big moment, seeing his
CM
favorite
Punk, yeah.
wrestler, main event WrestleMania. Like that was a huge moment. I know he was devastated that he lost,
Hmm.
but it was still incredible. I think he really, really loved being able to yell out it's clobbering time
Yeah.
with the rest of like the whole stadium.
Hmm.
Like, oh, and seeing Stone Cold come out,
Before,
that was a bucket list moment.
before the crash and everything. Yes, I have to imagine.
The whole thing was a vibe, like missing the ramp, crashing the barricade,
Yeah.
counting the numbers, and then smashing the beers. Like that's all
Hmm.
I want from him,
Yeah,
really.
that's fair. Well, you got what you wanted, you and your husband, that is so much fun. And you mentioned Melina, and you got to meet another legend last year, actually a few legends, when you traveled out to Ballarat for Starrcast Down Under and Mickey James is her event. Tell us about your experience and some of the takeaways from attending that event.
Oh, that was wild. I think that was kind of the moment where I knew things were really starting to kind of pick up for me, because I was before Ballarat, I was in Perth doing the EPW camp, and I woke up
Yeah.
one morning and Mickey had followed me on Instagram, and I was like, is this a dream? What's happening? Like, it was so random. And then when I it was when we got to Ballarat and we went to her, she had like that little party the night before the
Yeah.
show, and she walked in and she straight away, she like pointed at me and recognized me, and she was like, oh my god, it's you. And I was like, what is happening? And she pointed me out in the midst of her like like the little, I don't know what you call it, when they were like talking to the crowd and like the
Like
Q&A and
in
stuff that they were
intros and
doing.
Q&A, yeah.
Yeah, she pointed me out in that, and I was just like, this is so bizarre. Like, what is going on? She came up to talk to me afterwards, and she was like, I've found you when I was searching for Aussie wrestlers to book on my show. She's like, I think you've really got something going on. You've got like such a great look, and I think I see that you're putting all the pieces together. And I was like, okay, so I have Mother Mickey's blessing. This is great. This tells me I'm on the right track with what I'm doing. And then going to the next day, going to the meet and greets and stuff, and like meeting Foxy, meeting Lisa Marie and that, like, and they were all so lovely and
Yeah.
so supportive. And they came up and found me like outside of the meet and greets to talk to me and stuff, and they're just like some of the loveliest people I've ever freaking met. Like, you expect wrestlers to kind of have an ego sometimes, but they were
Yeah.
just so, so, so lovely and so supportive. And it was a bummer to obviously not be on the show. I didn't expect to be on the show at all. But being there and being kind of like the only person I know who wasn't on the show, I was like, oh, I feel a bit left out. Whatever. Like, but but it was so awesome seeing everyone else and kind of at least being seen and feeling that support
Yeah.
from the wrestlers and stuff. I was like, even though I'm not on the show, I know that this is still a very, very important weekend for me, and I was so glad that I went. Like, it was really, really beneficial for me.
Well, you never know. Maybe they come back, Starrcast Down Under. It was a great show and
It
obviously a
was.
great opportunity because Australia doesn't get the exposure that it deserves. So that was an awesome opportunity to see, but there was multiple shows that weekend. But especially the her event and the women getting the spotlight was really fun. You never know. I hopefully they come back there because I mean, you've grown since then. You're on what year four turn right now.
Yeah.
So still kind of early, but you definitely have your look and your character down, which is a lot more than I think a lot of people can say. So
100%. I think as well, like at the time, I hadn't really been. I think at that point I hadn't been wrestling interstate. I was still just doing my
uh
own home promotion and
yeah.
stuff. But now I've like, now I've got a belt in another company. I'm like traveling interstate every other weekend. Like I've grown a lot since then.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So hopefully, fingers crossed, Mickey or somebody makes their way out again, get you that opportunity. It's all about elevating yourself, and you definitely have grown a lot in just the last year alone. So you should be proud of that.
Thank you.
And you alluded to it earlier, just a few weeks before that, you attended the camp at EPW in Perth during Elimination Chamber weekend. Seems like you gained a
Mhm.
lot of knowledge from this camp. I know Damian Slater and Davis Storm were leading it. So tell us about some of your takeaways from the camp. What are some things that you learned or took away coming out of it?
It was very, very, very good camp for me. It was the first time I'd ever done an EPW camp. And I think it was such a great weekend because it was Elimination Chamber. We had
Yeah.
so many great wrestlers come over. They had a lot of the PWA wrestlers come over, and it was so great meeting everyone. Um, it was a really good networking camp for me and like for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But it was really great. Like, Davis and Damien, they're just such powerhouses of knowledge in wrestling. And it really helped me just with things like, selling and how to work as a face and a heel. Like, just a lot of those important, like, the little things that you do in your matches, they're so, so important. And when you can focus on them and, like, really, really make them count, like, how you sell as a face when you're getting beat down is going to determine how the crowd perceives you,
Yeah.
if they want to get behind you, just things like that. And even just things of like changing your vocalization in a match to make sure you have levels, to make sure you're not doing too much. And just there was so, so, so much I learned from that weekend. Like, I don't have time to go through it all. But
That's
yeah,
fair.
I take any chance I can get to do a seminar if Slater or Stormy are doing it. Like, because every time it's never the same. It's never the same seminar.
Yeah. It's a good thing because there's so many different components, there's psychology, look, obviously in ring is
Mm.
big, character. There's so many little like nuances, so
Yeah.
it's a good thing. Two more questions for you. That same weekend, we were talking about legends. You got to meet the legendary Kevin Owens that weekend too as well. How was your
Yeah.
interaction with him?
Pretty dorky to be honest. Like, because that was obviously after the EPW Super
Yeah,
Show, and we were in the locker room, and him and Rhea were in there, and we're like, well, we're obviously gonna go say hi, but like, I don't want to seem
absolutely.
like an absolute loser. Like, um, but everyone else was doing it. I'm like, okay, just go up, be respectful, just try and be cool. Try and be cool. I go up, I introduce myself to his handler because I want to make sure that I'm really trying to just be as respectful as I
Yeah.
can. And we just have a little chit chat about wrestling and, just kind of niceties, and then asked him for a photo. And that was pretty much it. It was very short, as it is in those kind of situations, but he was really nice. Um, he didn't have to do that at all. He could have just left, but
True.
he
True.
stayed and talked to everyone, and it was just, yeah, it was a nice moment. And also, I am taller than him, so
Oh, are you?
yes.
That's cool. That's
Not by
cool.
a lot, but it's
Yeah,
enough for
it's
me.
something though. He seems, I haven't personally met him, but I've heard great things about him when like people have met him, and obviously like having fellow South Australian Rhea Ripley there. I know she was there and obviously main evented the WWE show that came. So I have to
Yeah,
imagine that was pretty cool too, kind of a full circle thing for a lot of people.
yeah, I think so. Like, for most people in that locker room, it was just seeing their mate. Like,
Yeah. True, true. Well, final question. As we're looking towards the future now, what are some of your personal and professional goals for 2025 and beyond? Obviously, we hope to get you back over here in the States sometime. That was just a little taste. We hope to get you more. But what else are you hoping for in the next year or two?
I try not to have kind of like set goals, because obviously if they don't work out, I don't want to be
Yeah,
disappointed. But I definitely obviously want to come back to the States at some point, because I really enjoyed it there. Not just wrestling, like I genuinely enjoyed being there. I thought it was great. I kind of just, I don't know, fits in with my lifestyle, to be honest. I know it's not for everyone. I I want to wrestle obviously in more states in
yeah.
Australia. I want to kind of get onto other promotions I haven't been on. And a personal goal for me is I really want to elevate my women's title, because I've had it for a few months now, and I feel like it's great, but I feel like I could do more with it, and I want to kind of give it a bigger wrap, I
Hmm.
guess would be the way to put it. Like, it's just at the moment it's just kind of, I have a belt. Cool. I want people to really want that belt. I want to do stuff with that belt that makes it very prestigious, I guess. I don't know
Yeah,
if that sounds a bit
absolutely.
wanky, but
No, of course, you always want to elevate not only yourself, but the thing that you're carrying, you're representing the company. So absolutely, that's a sign that you
exactly.
care about what you're doing.
Exactly, because I care about the company that I have it as at UPW.
Yeah.
I want to do it for myself. I also want to do it for them, because what's the point in having a women's belt if no one cares about it?
Yeah. So you're doing what a champion should be. You want to elevate it, not only for yourself, but the division, the company, everything. So that's what
Exactly.
that's what you look for in a champion. So
Yeah.
I have no doubt that you can accomplish that. Obviously, you're doing the work now, everybody just has to put in the work as well.
Yeah.
But it seems like you got the foundation built for that. But Ax, before we let you go, please let the listeners know where they can find you online and support you and your bomb ass t-shirts, by the way.
Thank you. I'm getting more of those printed.
Oh, hell yeah.
You can find me on Instagram. That's my biggest platform that I use. It's Axe Massacre Sucks with two X's. And on Facebook, it's just Axe Massacre. Twitter is Axe underscore massacre, I believe. And also
So
TikTok, which again is just Axe Massacre. And I post very silly things on there. So
you gotta it's TikTok, so like you have to, you know? Um,
yeah.
Follow Axe on all the things and support the amazing t-shirt designs that you have created. We look forward to more in the future, of course. But in the meantime, Axe, thank you so much for joining me here today. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me.